Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, October 17th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Monday. It is 22 days until the election. Just go ahead and know, every day until the election, I'm going to tell you, we are 22 days. If you haven't decided who you're going to vote for, the clock is ticking. It is time for you to pull down your sample ballot or pull out your absentee ballot and start doing your research. And fortunately for you, most of our candidates are out and about. There are places where you can find them. There were so many rallies this weekend, I couldn't figure out where to be so that I could be at the rallies. The candidates are hosting or attending rallies. They're going all over the state to give you an opportunity to hear who they are, learn about them, and they're trying to earn your vote. Just tonight, Melinda Elizalde Fard, who's running for lieutenant governor, and Naomi Andrews, who's running for Congress in Congressional District 2, they're going to be in Bartlesville this evening at 5:30. I know that Joy is doing rallies all over the state, and Madison is doing rallies. And bottom line, if someone is on your ballot and you're a Democrat, and someone is on your ballot, I bet there's a good chance between now and November 8th for you to be somewhere where they're going to be, and some of it is online, be somewhere where they're going to be and hear them speak and ask them questions and give them the opportunity to earn your vote. I feel pretty confident if you hear them speak, that they will earn your vote. So get out there, learn who they are, know who they are. So last week, I talked a lot about the folks on the other side of the aisle. I talked a lot about the status quo and what needed to be changed. And just as a reminder, the governor, the scandals that he's involved with, Class Wallet, Epic, hydrochloroquine, SWAT lease, those are just the top level. Not even going to talk about CLO and all of those things, just top level. Those are all the scandals that he's involved in or has been involved in, instigated, and needs to answer for. Mark Wayne Mullen, who is running for U.S. Senate, he's running for a promotion. I just can't even talk about it. But let's talk about his personal wealth, how much wealthier he's gotten as a member of Congress. He's in the top 5 of the most wealthy members of Congress. From Oklahoma, he's in the top 5 of the wealthiest members in Congress.
Bullcrap.
That's exactly right. That is bullcrap. It's shameful. I won't spend a whole lot of time talking about him. Langford, U.S. Senate, he's on the ballot. Madison Horn is running against him. You know, he spends all of his time at the Texas border. He believes that 13-year-olds can consent to sex. And he said, everyone should be able to make their own decisions with regards to health care. But what he really meant is, as long as I agree with it, I being him, as long as he agrees with it, honestly. And then there's Ryan Walters, who barely merits a mention. But I will mention him so that people understand what's happening here. This is the guy who makes car videos. This is the guy who proudly boasts about his plan to defund education through a whole host of other reasons, but mainly by refusing federal funds for education. And, and he keeps causing all of these culture wars that don't have anything to do with making sure that we're providing all of our scholars with an opportunity for education. That's what's on the other side, folks. We have great folks on our side. And let's start with the new poll that came out. There's a new poll that came out that shows Joy Hoffmeister at 49% of the vote and Kevin Stitt at 42% of the vote. That's a good looking poll. And as I talked about it last week, we were going to be on this polar coaster, right? Where it shows Hoffmeister in the lead, then it shows Stitt in the lead, then it shows, but there are more and more coming out with Hoffmeister in the lead. It can happen. We have to have faith and we have to have a plan. It can happen if we make a plan to vote and we help other people make a plan to vote. But I want to remind you of who we're talking about in Joy Hoffmeister by showing you a commercial.
I've been traveling across this state, listening and visiting with Oklahomans. There are some common threads.
So sick of people just being on the extremes. I'm tired of the extremism.
I want a governor that unites us.
I'm a lifelong Republican, and I choose joy.
That's who we have running for governor. And again, Class Wallet, Swadley's epic. Those aren't her scandals. But the governor's race isn't the only important race, because the legislature holds the purse strings. And so I want to talk to you about Melissa Provenzano. She's from Tulsa. I had the honor and privilege of being the secretary of Tulsa County when she first decided that she was thinking about running. And I was the person that she came in and talked to. And as I was sharing with the other officers, I think she's got it, guys. I think she's great. And in her time in the state legislature, as a freshman Democrat, she actually got bills across the finish line. The Republicans are targeting her seat. I want to remind you of who she is, encourage you to learn more about her. And if you live in her district, help some people make a plan to vote.
I am Melissa Provenzano. I worked in our public schools as an administrator for over a decade. When lawmakers refused to help Oklahoma teachers, I had to step up. Since then, I've worked to stop the abuse of state education dollars. I made it harder for student loan companies to hurt ordinary people, and made sure breast cancer exams are fully covered by your insurance. Vote for someone with a proven track record of working across the aisle to get things done. I'm asking for your vote on November 8th, because I'm not done yet.
Let's make sure she's not done. So I've highlighted Joy. I've highlighted Melissa. And the reason why is that education is on the ballot in Oklahoma. Education is what I keep hearing from candidates, that when they're on the doors, that's what they're hearing about. People are really concerned about education. And because of that, we need to make sure that the superintendent of public instruction is on our side, is on the side of teachers, on the side of students, on the side of parents. And to that end, we really have to make sure that Gina gets elected. But here's some.
This is where I grew up. Rural schools, dirt roads, pickup trucks, leaving our doors unlocked at night. This is my Oklahoma. My family came from very humble means. I know what it's like to grow up without much. I know the shame involved with showing up to school with holes in your shoes. But what helped me get through all of that were my teachers.
Gina was one of the best students that I ever taught. But like so many students, oftentimes that talent and that excitement is dimmed or dulled by trauma. But I knew that with encouragement that she would shine, and she did, and she has, and she still shines today.
It is no exaggeration that public schools save lives. I know, because they saved mine. Our rural schools keep Oklahoma alive by providing good job opportunities and a solid education for all our kids. Under the Stitt-Walters regime, rural public schools are going to be the most vulnerable in the state of Oklahoma. They are an essential resource. They are the heart of the communities, and we have to keep them open.
Because education is not Democrat or Republican. Education is important for all of us because our kids are counting on it.
I'm Gina Nelson, and I'm running for state superintendent for all of us.
So there's a common theme there beyond education. Folks are overwhelmingly talking about education on the doors. They're concerned about the extremism that is plaguing our country and specifically our state. Now, I'm the chair of the Oklahoma Democratic Party, and so I'm always talking about Democrats. But in my real life, I have a lot of friends who are Republicans because I know that people are people. And fortunately, the candidates that are running under the Democrat banner aren't running for extremism. They're not running for extreme partisan. They are running to make sure that all of Oklahoma is represented. And I think that Kendra Horn explains it best.
We're all sick and tired of politics as usual, especially when there is so much work to be done. Things are more divided than ever, and our leaders are more extreme than we are. We can't keep going down this same path, electing people who pit us against our friends and neighbors. That's not the Oklahoma way. You've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. Elected offices don't belong to a political party. They belong to the people. That's why in Congress, I worked across the aisle to deliver real results that matter. Safe housing for service members, improved infrastructure for our communities, support to small businesses, and taxpayer money back into the hands of working Oklahomans. As a fifth-generation Oklahoman, I come from hardworking people who live the Oklahoma standard, rooted in service to their communities, always showing up for each other, especially when times are hard, because we are in this together. We don't always have to agree, but we do need to talk to each other. I got knocked down, but I got back up because I'm not done fighting for Oklahoma. And that's why I'm running for U.S. Senate. This won't be easy, but things worth fighting for never are. When I first ran for Congress, people told me I didn't stand a chance. But we proved them wrong, together. And we'll do it again, together. Now who's with me?
I am. I hope that you are too. I just wanted to take an opportunity, and there are more commercials out there, but I wanted to take an opportunity and share those commercials with you. Let you know who's running, what they stand for, and the work that they're doing. Those candidates were able to afford commercials because of donations. They were able to have someone shoot those commercials and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to remind you that it is still very important that we get out and we help candidates. I, for one, am knocking doors tomorrow morning. I'm out knocking doors because we have to do everything that we can so that on November 9th, we know that we've done everything that we can. We know that, we've knocked all the doors and made all the phone calls and wrote all the postcards and helped as many people as we could to make a plan to vote, because that's what it's going to take for Joy to be governor, for Gina to be the superintendent of public instruction, for Kendra Horn to be our U.S. Senator, for Madison Horn to be U.S. Senator, for Melissa to retain her position. And if you haven't seen Melissa argue on the floor, it's a beauty to behold. But those are the kinds of things that we need to make sure that we have. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about how Democrats deliver, how our folks in Washington currently, which is why they all need to go, our folks in Washington keep voting against Oklahomans. Yet Democrats have a majority in the House, and we're clinging to a majority in the state Senate. And in doing so, we've been able to get a lot of things covered that still help Oklahomans, even though our representation votes against them. This is why it's important that you know who's on the ballot. We have 2 U.S. Senate seats. All 5 of our congressional seats are open. All of our statewide seats are open, and 40 of our state house seats. Chances are, if you're watching me, chances are you have someone to vote for in the state house. Make sure you get to know them and you make sure that they get your vote, because that's where the financial decisions are made for our state. So I want to end with sharing what's happening on the national stage.
A new day is dawning in Oklahoma as we invest nearly $2 billion to rebuild our state. Oklahomans will go to better paying jobs at rebuilt industrial parks. Their water will be cleaner. They'll watch airplanes take off from better airports. New broadband internet will connect rural Oklahoma to the rest of us. Kids will have more places to play. And if they get hurt, their nearby hospitals will be open again. Who can we thank for this historic investment? Not Kevin Stitt. He's too busy bragging about saving when he should have invested in our future. We can't thank Oklahomans in Washington. They all voted against the American Rescue Plan. So, thanks, Joe, for taking care of Oklahoma when Republicans wouldn't.
I wanted to end with that because I want you guys to know what's at stake. So our congressional candidates are Adam Martin in CD1, Naomi Andrews in CD2, Jeremiah Ross in CD3, Mary Brannon in CD4, and Joshua Harris Till in CD5. We all have a candidate for Congress that we can vote for, so that we don't have to have folks who are just there saying no, folks who are just there hanging out with the other Republicans who are voting for things that help their state, I guess. But we need folks who are going to vote for things that help Oklahomans. So please get to know who our candidates are. Help people make a plan. I just can't say it enough. We are 22 days away. We're down to the crunch time. The polls are looking great for us, but it only happens if we make a plan. Alrighty, so that was my brief. I want to make sure to encourage you to join Scott Hamilton this evening at 6:30 on the Hamilton Report. He's going to have a special guest that has something to do with the governor's race. I think you don't want to miss that. That's tonight on the Oklahoma Democratic Party Facebook page and YouTube page. Join Scott Hamilton at 6:30. It should be fun. You guys have a great evening, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15.